Alright, what's up everybody? It's nice to see everyone. I love having so many vegans together in one place. It's terrific. I wrote this poem several months ago. It's called Where War Begins. Let us discuss the meaning of war, not just to the children, disabled and poor, not just to the mother in Yemen today, paying and praying for a way to allay the pestering fear that the Saudis won't stop, bombarding her land until everyone drops dead as the medical crisis we see envelops each person who ventures to flee, not just to the father in Egypt or lads mauled by the butchers, the slayers, the cads who attack non-believers with cleavers and saws, who sever their limbs and shatter their jaws, not just to the nieces in Syria, teens, bullied by thugs for their laughable dreams, not just to the humans, the old and the new, not just to the Christian, the Muslim and Jew, but to other folks too, the ones we ingest. The chickens and camels and all of the best meat that we eat and the millions we store in our cupboards and dressers for parties galore. Should we pay heed when the animals groan, we'll notice their pain might heighten our own. I fear when we scoff at a creature that's small, we start shrugging off beggars, disparaging all of the humans with brains that we deem repulsively slow, the undignified team of people whose looks and whose charms and whose dreams the preponderance of folks would never esteem. Because if you malign the taciturn cow, whose mouth doesn't talk because it doesn't know how, and if you condemn the head-bobbing hen whose tottering and doddering seems awkward, and then you slander the cat and you rail at the monkey, except in that song where you're calling him funky, and if you impound all the mice all around just to douse them with water to see if they drown, and if you pummel them harder when the buffalo cry, like Americans did when they entered My Lai, you betray an indifference to suffering, see? You neglect your own kin. You don't care if they're free. That apathy note doesn't end with the bee, doesn't end with the pigs, doesn't end with the pleas of the cows that can't talk but still seem to convey they don't like when we choose to dehorn them one day. They don't want us to wound them with inhumane laws. They don't pray that we'll tease them with jeers and applause. For if sheep are too stupid to merit concern, then what about infants, the impaired and infirm? If we'll torture a lamb, then why will we care when they mock a poor girl and stick twigs in her hair? When it comes to the right to live free from the blight of aggression, oppression, from tyrannous might, how smart you are, friends, shouldn't matter at all. Trauma's still trauma for creatures that crawl. To think of a killing as fairly benign, you need a sick shift in the murderer's mind. For it's not like a human with a hint of compassion to bash in the skull of a fellow whose ashen face can relay all the pain he endures when cut like a cobra or plucked like a bird. To justify killing, we call victims a pest for their devious manner and intolerable zest for seduction, destruction, and bold criminality, whose scheming demeanor bespeaks animality. When the Japanese pounced on Hawaii, my friends, we hoarded their children like pigs in their pens in the stables and stockyards and fairgrounds and all, before bombing Japan till its people would fall at the hands of the ruthless Churchillian sea, who labeled them dogs and monkeys and bees, as the Japanese did when they entered Nanking, grabbed them a man through his nose, stuck a string, tied his face to a tree, and proceeded to mull over the laughable fact he resembled a bull, which coarsened their hearts and further inspired their comrades in war to set peasants on fire. Hiro Onoda, ensconced in that spat, said killing in China is like killing a cat. An officer too said the difference between a peasant in China and a pig on the green is that the foreigner's flesh isn't tasty, you see. You don't eat the dead guy over soda and tea. It resembles Kuwait, where Americans sparred with Saddam Hussein's men in Republican Guard as they assembled to leave on the highway of death. The pilots above, like bullies on meth, started to batter the turkeys, they said, as some cockroach civvies in unison fled. I think now of Timor and kids in their pain, mired and tired and beaten and chained, bedeviled, disheveled, and addled and shackled, while sore as the crook and the sycophants cackled, looking upon them conceited and tall, calling them critters, not human at all. Isn't it funny how fascists begin with the goose, move on to the cattle, the chicken, the moose, then on to the humans with second-rate heads, too stupid to care that we kill them in bed, then turn to the groups still living outside the sumptuous world of princes and brides, berate them, enslave them, and kill them for God, who sanctions it all with a wink and a nod. Label them goons because their aching's a joke. Sure, they can whine and howl and choke. Sure, they have nerves to process the pain. Sure, they have friends. Sure, they have brains. Sure, they'd prefer a quiet life to the poisons and leg holds and wiles we brew. But abuses, misuses, and ruses are fun. The master declaims with a whip and a gun, still preaching and teaching the pigs are all ours to puncture and pressure and eat at the bars. But at a certain point, friends, our excuses expire. The issue is real because their agony's dire. For the chicken and salmon and buffeted pup and the cow at the slaughter, it's time to stand up. Thank you.
Hey man, show your love for Tommy Raskin.